this last offseason was so interesting to me.
Why?
Because I was talking to several teams, and I was very, very aware about Jensen's situation, like way before. Because you guys know how Jensen was going to roll swap AD carry, but it was like...
Sort of, yeah.
It was like weird because when he decided he was going to roll swap AD carry, he opened up the mid position for his team, which then led to them talking to Bjergsen.
Oh,
so
wasn't the other way around?
He inadvertently fucked himself when he said that he was okay to roll swap to AD carry. He thought he was doing his team a favor, and he actually wasn't doing his. I mean, he was doing his team a favor, and at the same time, he opened up like a vacant position on his team, which fucked him because then TL went with Hansama and Bjergsen, and there was no spot left for him. And I knew all this stuff was happening like way before, so I was like fucking licking my lips. I was like, holy shit, Jensen is fucked, but I can help him because we can like build an insane team together. But I think a lot of the LCS orgs don't seem that interested in winning. They seem more interested in developing talent.
Nothing
which I think is the
quite
dumbest
like
idea ever. It's there's no indication that when like, you know, a player has played for like many years that for some reason they lose the ability to learn. If anything, the fact that the players like Jensen have played so many years and been so good the whole time means that they are capable of learning and change and like improving their play from meta to meta. Like Jensen has played like fucking assassins, he's played enchanters, he's played fucking Galio tanks mid, Scion mid, and he's played obviously control mages like his whole life. It's so mind-blowing to me that someone like him couldn't find a team at the end of the season. Also, Afro has Predator. That's fucking crazy. And yeah, anyways, the whole offseason experience just made me realize like LCS teams, they don't care about winning. They actually don't. Like they'll say that they do because that's what the fans want to hear, but they don't care about winning. Like if TSM also cared about winning, like they wouldn't have ended up with that roster either. It's really just funny.
I think
it is funny.
I mean, it also has to do with like budgets,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. Budget factors in huge. I don't see the thing is from a business perspective. If a team was just to like tell you or tell me this just doesn't fit with our budget, then that makes total sense. Like I would be like, yeah, fucking every LCS team is losing money on esports, right? Like for the most part, there's obviously some exceptions, but like it's a huge money sink. It's an unproven business model. I can understand that you wouldn't want to just sink like millions of dollars per player, like Team Liquid is, right? Like Team Liquid is just like fucking like just money out the asshole, just so dedicated to just like.
I mean, what C9 paid for perks too, like just insane numbers.
Yeah. It is it's hard to like justify like huge reckless spending on like an expensive team, I guess, because you're not guaranteed to win, and even if you do win, there's no guarantee you're gonna make that money back. My instinct is telling me that's not the main reason, but it's definitely a factor. I think buyouts being insane definitely hurts a lot of players. I think that definitely hurt Jensen a lot.
It's pretty weird that buyouts are as expensive as they are.
I think it's because there's never really been like you go into a contract and you decide what your buyout is. Like I don't think that's really been much of a thing. The players that are getting fucked by it are the players that have like been on teams for so long
100%.
and like their value goes up. But like if they preemptively set it before like you get the build up, then they can't really get fucked by them.
I think one thing about like buyouts fucking players, like I think the best example has got to be Reckless, right? Like there's no way Reckless couldn't find a team. It is almost entirely due to his buyout being... Oh, Sven's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead. He's dead. Jose
No
flashed...
way they could
Dude,
have
Jose
known from
flashed
where
literally
we
just
were.
to steal it, like, for fun. But, yeah, buyouts fuck over players a lot. They limit their options. They can only play for teams that are rich enough to afford the buyout. And sometimes the teams that are rich enough to afford the buyout is not the team that the player wants to play for, you know? It's like, if only Golden Guardians wanted to pay the amount of money for, like, your buyout, you'd be thinking, like, maybe I'll just tough it out in Academy for a year until a top team wants to pay it, or like my contract expires and then I can like be in a better spot. When you sign a contract, you're kind of in a honeymoon phase, no? Like
in regards to what?
Like when you sign a contract, it's all smiles and handshakes. It's like, this is gonna be the year, you know, we built this amazing roster with you, like we're so excited to work with you. And so you don't have this feeling, you don't have this urgent feeling of like, oh, I need to think about capping my buyout or like talking to my employer about buyout rules, because like you're so honeymooned. Like, I'm so excited to play for this team. This is a new chapter in my life. You know, this is a, you know, a great thing that happened. I'm locked in. Like, and then, like, you know, fast forward a year later or 2 years later, and you're employed. Like, it's not the honeymoon phase. It's actually like after you bombed out of groups or like you lost LCS. And then now it's not like smiles and handshakes. It's like fucking,
It's like, ooh, how much money can we get off this guy?
Yeah, like, I am an asset. I am a livestock. So yeah, I think players are starting to realize that it's really important, but it was like hard for them before because you're just having a good time in the off season, especially if you're a high value player.
Yeah, I mean, I think the power dynamic between like players and orgs is pretty skewed at the moment toward orgs. Maybe not for like the most popular players, but for most, they're like really fucking at their org's mercy. So they just try to like be cooperative.
Yeah, I mean, like if you don't want to agree to good terms for the org, they'll just get a different player.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, I guess. That's
I mean,
why, like, ideally in the best scenario, it's like the player union comes in and like sets forward like minimums for the.
I think if
everyone's
they're
contract.
gonna bargain, then if the Players Association wanted to bargain for a buyout cap, then the orgs would then just come back with, okay, then make a salary cap, and it would go nowhere.
I mean, how does that go back to that?
Because because the orgs are putting high buyouts to recoup the ridiculous salaries that they're paying. That's their justification for huge buyouts.
The only ridiculous salaries are like the insane numbers for imports, because those aren't real numbers. Like the numbers C9 paid for perks is like out of this fucking world. No one should ever pay that type of money.
Yeah, and Sword Art too. But like, that's what I'm saying is like the justification for absurd buyouts is because they like orgs are like paying absurd prices for top players. They're gonna come back and like they're not going to.
I think a
accept
salary
a
cap is fine in that case. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
see an
who
issue
the,
with
who,
the
who the
salary
fuck
cap.
wants that kind of number in the league?
But
Like as any player that's not from fucking Korea or Europe, like you don't want that shit.
it
Why
depends
would
on
you
where
want
it's at, right? It depends on where it's at. I
Nobody's-
think if the
nobody's
salary
gonna
cap
take
is
that.
like 700K, then a lot of players are gonna be affected.
They're not gonna put it at 700.
Well, I think there's an argument to be made that a salary cap could be like 700K.
But I mean, it depends what you're putting the buyout cap at.
yeah,
Like you're obviously
yeah,
not putting
yeah.
the buyout cap at like 50K for this superstar player.
That's why I think this totally subjective and like this slider type of thing is never gonna go anywhere if it does go to negotiations between the PA and like orgs, because every org is gonna have a different opinion, and like it's so hard to even decide on what the salary buyout cap should be. It's so hard to agree. I'm not even
There's
sure
a
how it
good
works in real sports. Like maybe somebody who actually watches like real sports can enlighten me. Like is there a buyout cap and a salary cap? I think there is a salary cap in
I think
NBA.
a lot of
That's-
sports have salary caps.
yeah.
It's definitely a good.
Is that for players though? I thought it was more like team spending. Like your team was only allowed to spend a certain amount on player salaries.
Sounds kind of right.
I mean, maybe there's both, or it varies for different sports.
Maybe a team salary cap does make sense. More sense than an individual. Anyways, yeah. I would be really surprised if something like that happened, but you know, it could.
I think like the multi-year contracts that players get into are like such fucking scams for the players.
Yeah.
Someone said 10% of contract for buyout.
That's insanely low. That's
I mean,
insanely low.
yeah,
should
but
it
the
be
numbers are
higher
high.
than that though?
The numbers are high as fuck though.
I think players would be happy with a fucking 30% of their salary, their yearly
Yeah, yeah,
salary.
like-
I think
like-
players would be very happy with that. The fact
Think of the Vulcan one, like that
Yeah.
one. Like Vulcan is not getting paid anything,
yes, and he got
his-
sold for
it was like
800K.
1.5 mil, right?
Or it's 1.5
Yeah.
mil.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that
the
was a
buyout.
fucking clean
Jesus.
fight.
Yeah.
It was an insane number for
Yeah.
like a contract that pays nothing.
I actually have no idea, but like what his salary would be like. I think I agree with you. It would be low. I have an estimation of what I think it would have been, but his buyout was literally fucking a huge multiple of his salary, and that is just cringe. That is
Like,
Yeah, I don't see how
you
that
always
makes any
forget
sense.
Those should never be a thing. That's
I mean,
that's like because those things don't exist as rules that
Yeah.
existed in the first place.
the argument the orgs would make is like they take risk when they pay academy players or like upcoming players a salary at all, and like to recoup the money that they make on all of the failed
kick.
investments. That kick was insane,
Nah.
by the way. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't agree with it, right? Like, I'm on the player's side for 100%, but like, I think you have to know what the other side is going to bring to the table.